Have you ever just had that sudden urge to go somewhere completely new? Not for a relaxing vacation, but for a real, genuine experience. Well, we're about to dive into a journey that started exactly like that, and we'll explore how one trip can actually become two totally different but equally important adventures.
And it all started with this one simple sentence, said to his wife over a cup of coffee. See, he'd just run into an old friend from India, and it sparked this idea that had been lying dormant for years. It wasn't some big elaborate plan or a bucket list thing, it was just a gut feeling, Something he just had to do. And that became the powerful, personal reason for the whole trip.
So how do you go from this vague feeling of, I want to go to India, to actually booking a plane ticket to a specific city? Well, as we're about to see, the way he decided was a really fascinating mix of the practical and the personal.
Okay, so picking the actual spot was this unique kind of balancing act. On one side, you had the fun, kind of quirky rules. The city had to have a Hard Rock cafe, and it needed to have direct flights. Simple enough. But on the other side, there was a much more serious thing to consider, especially for a solo traveler, the stay safe section on Wicca Voyage. So after weighing everything, the final decision was made: Kolkata. With the destination locked in, the advice from colleagues started rolling in, and man, was it a mixed bag. You had the really helpful, practical stuff like, hey, print out all your documents, and don't tip 500 rupees, that's way too much. And then you had the less helpful stuff, like a stark warning that he was going to be robbed the second he landed. So, armed with all this conflicting advice, he headed off to West Bengal.
And this is where the real adventure begins. He landed late at night, and his first impression of Kolkata was just a city filled with old, rundown buildings. But the true immersion, that real plunge into the experience he was looking for, that was waiting for him the next morning. Looking back, this was the absolute peak of the entire trip. The Mulak Ghat Flower Market. It wasn't just a place to see, it was a whole world you had to absorb. He described it as order in chaos, and that phrase just perfectly sets the stage for the incredible experience that was about to hit him.
And this is what that chaos actually felt like. I mean, every single one of your senses was just pushed to the absolute limit. You've got the non-stop noise of people shouting and horns beeping. You've got this explosion of colorful flowers, yellow, orange, purple, white, everywhere. And then the smell, wow. It was this incredible clash between the sweet fragrance of the flowers and the stinking smell of rubbish. It was just a complete flood of the senses.
And this quote just captures the whole point perfectly. Right there in that moment of pure sensory overload, with all this beautiful and difficult stuff happening at once, he found exactly what he came for. This wasn't some tourist attraction to just look at. This was India, and it was meant to be fully, completely experienced. That smile says it all, doesn't it?
All right, now let's get to the second half of the trip, which takes a very sharp and very intentional turn. After an experience that intense, it was time for a little recalibration.
It's a pretty logical question, right? Why would you follow up this exciting, totally outlandish dive into a new culture with a standard holiday? It almost feels like a step backward, but there was actually a really clear purpose behind this move.
You see, the trip to Thailand wasn't a separate vacation, it was part two of the exact same journey. Because as amazing as Kolkata was, it was also emotionally exhausting. Thailand was the planned detox, a chance to process all that intensity by just embracing something familiar and completely normal.
And that normalcy came in the simplest ways you can imagine. Arriving in a sleepy, quiet city in the morning, eating a familiar plate of pad thai, wandering through a modern shopping mall, and even just crashing in the hotel to binge watch a comedy on Netflix. Every single one of those simple, almost mundane things brought this huge sense of relief.
And here it is, the key realization. That feeling of relief wasn't a rejection of the experience in India. It was the necessary other half of it. It was the stark contrast between the two places that made the entire journey work so well. One really would have been incomplete without the other.
So what's the big takeaway here? What can this whole tale of two trips, one of complete overwhelm and one of total calm, tell us about why we really travel?
This question from a friend gets right to the heart of the matter. For a lot of people, travel is about beautiful photos and comfort. So why would you actively go seek out something messy, chaotic, and challenging? It's a fair question, but it kind of misses the whole point of this kind of journey.
And the answer is this. True travel, the kind that really changes you, isn't just about what you see, it's about what you feel. It's about full immersion, appreciating a place with every single one of your senses. It's not about taking a picture of a messy pole. It's about standing right there and beginning to understand the complex, vibrant life that put that pole there in the first place.
And that leaves us with a final question to think about. Maybe the most meaningful journeys aren't always the most relaxing or the most picturesque. Perhaps the trips we really truly remember are the ones that push us, that challenge us, and yeah, even the ones that completely overwhelm us. So when was the last time a place did that to you?